Hello and welcome to the Orlando World Sunday Showdown round of 32. In this week's show, we head to the old days at Universal Studios and to Magic Kingdom, for a contest between the now defunct Jaws the Ride and TTA Peoplemover. As always, we start this week by taking a quick look at both of these attractions before heading into this week's 5 rounds. Let's take a look. The landscape at Universal Studios was very different when the park opened for business in 1990, with the area now developed to the wizarding world of Harry Potter's Diagon Alley. A far different landscape to the Amity Island San Francisco area of the park, featuring the Jaws attraction. The Jaws ride was one of the most complex boat ride attractions built at the time, so complex that it had to fully redeveloped after opening due to operational problems. The attraction was a heavy-laden spectacle with lots of special effects and animatronics which were incredibly realistic at the time, with a fairly suspenseful timeline of events. In its early years, and particularly in evening boat rides, the ride was very intense, with the animatronics at the time being quite lifelike with their movements, and with the similar surroundings of the movie scenes, it made the ride exciting, yet suspenseful boat ride, which took you incredibly close to encountering the predatory great white shark. TTA Peoplemover is a mass transportation attraction located in the centre of Tomorrowland at Magic Kingdom, known as Rocket Tower Plaza, which is also home to the Astro Orbiter attraction. It opened on the 1st of July 1975 and was developed for Tomorrowland, a somewhat expansion to the Epcot theme park development. TTA takes riders along the route around the land, giving some stunning views to other attractions within Tomorrowland and also views of the Main Street area and the iconic Cinderella Castle. Although not considered a ride, it's noted as being a favourable attraction, particularly for those who are looking to get a better look at the surrounding areas of the park, where the TTA passes by the likes of the currently under construction Tron Lightcycle Power Run, the Tomorrowland Speedway and Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, to name a few, as well as a brief passing through the iconic Space Mountain ride. TTA gives a fantastic look around the area, and it is a fun attraction for those who want to take a break from the busy park area and to enjoy many of the stunning panoramic views which are on show throughout the duration of the attraction. Now let's head into this week's series of 5 rounds and see which of these 2 attractions advances to the round of 16. Let's head straight to the first round. Jaws was a typical 90s special effect attraction that was synonymous with many attractions at the time of opening. The theme to the ride was one of the best in its time, offering a bit more drama than the likes of Disney's Jungle Cruise and other similar boat rides. The story is based around a tour boat company, taking you out around the Amity Bay area of San Francisco, where they visit areas of previously known great white shark attacks. Ultimately, throughout the journey, the ride turns to utter despair as you end up having to flee from the beast commonly known as Jaws. The attraction was designed beautifully, with a stunningly serene-looking bay area, which ultimately turns to the scene of a horror movie, with the ongoing pursuit of the boats by the killer shark. The theme and special effects were incredibly realistic for their time, but eventually became less convincing as years passed, but the ride certainly captured the essence of the films particularly well, creating a thrilling boat encounter like nothing else seen in a theme park. TTA Peoplemover is a completely different type of attraction. Its main theme is based on a mass transportation system of the future, with its main theme being the backdrop of Tomorrowland. The attraction itself is fairly basic, with blue tram vehicles and a trackway system which then travels around the outskirts of the land, while offering a fly-on-the-wall view inside various attractions, and also to the vast scenic views around the area, which is often tipped as being a must-ride attraction for those with a keen interest in photography or cinematography, allowing for some incredible snapshots of a vibrant and colourful area of Magic Kingdom. The attraction itself is basic in terms of the theming, but the added bonus to the TTA is that over the years, the views change with the times, when upgrades occur around the park, giving you a unique view every time you ride. But in round 1, for an overall attraction, the Jaws ride takes the first point for its theming, for being a bit better in its use of theming, as we head into round 2. Jaws the ride operated within a roughly 7-acre area, within a bay lagoon which held up to 5 million gallons of water. In Captain Jake's fleet, there was a group of 7 tour boats, with up to 5 of them running at any one time around the 1,140-foot circuit. Each boat holds up to 50 people, seated in rows of 5-6 people, with the boats travelling around the bay area on a track system at speed of approximately 2 knots. Capacity for the ride was quite high for a boat-themed ride, compared to many other boat ride attractions at the time, with an average yearly capacity of 2,500 riders per hour, which was quite impressive. Ultimately though, over the years the Jaws ride became a seasonal attraction, which rarely hit the high capacity numbers it did in earlier years. TTA Peoplemover is one of the highest capacity attractions in Florida. It uses an LSM motor system with up to 32 vehicles on the 5,484-foot track at any one time. Each cluster of ride vehicles moves in groups of 5, with each pod holding 4 people in 2 rows in each pod. The ride continuously moves with the walkway, allowing for a quick transfer of guests, helping to keep the capacity at the highest it can be. It is operated in a similar fashion to the likes of the Omnimover attractions, and a similar ride system to older Epcot attractions like World of Motion. The capacity is very high, with an impressive 4,600 riders per hour able to take in the wonderful views from the attraction. So in round 2, winning by a very clear margin, TTA levels the score going into the third round. Jaws was a decent attraction which gave a very brief encounter of the world which was so iconically depicted in the film franchise. The ride was a fairly short, action-packed experience, with lots of traditional special effects, like fire and explosions, gunfire, and of course the several terrifying close encounters with the great white shark. The ride surprisingly was paced very well, with a slow suspenseful build-up to the frantic escape scenes throughout the ride, making the 5-minute duration feel well balanced and a bit longer than it actually was. It was a ride that was paced very well, and could have offered a bit of a longer ride if it was a much more modern-day attraction, but for what it was at the time, it was done very well and gave the riders a few minutes worth of thrills. TTA Peoplemover is in essence an exhibition track ride, showcasing the Tomorrowland section of the park, taking in the scenery and giving a behind-the-scenes look of the area's attractions. The attraction clocks in with a duration of 10 minutes, and it's a fairly uneventful period of time, in terms of what it offers compared to other attractions in the park. But for its duration, it does offer a unique look at parts of the park from an elevated perspective, and gives the opportunity to just relax and take in the sights of the park, and away from the crowds, giving you the chance to capture some memories with a little less interruption. It's an enjoyable 10 minutes of time nonetheless, and round 3 takes the point, and goes into the lead as we advance now to round 4. Jaws was considered one of the main attractions at Universal Studios when it opened. The chance to encounter a great white shark which featured in the iconic film franchise was met with huge fanfare at the time, but a very rough start for the attraction, which was plagued with operational problems, meant that after months of closure, the ride had a reputation of being unreliable, and never quite hit the heights it was intended to. It became a seasonal opening attraction for large spells of its service, but still managed to capture the imaginations of millions of visitors over its 21 years of service. TTA Peoplemover has had an impressive run at Magic Kingdom. One of the most original and unique ways to see much of the east side of the park is to visit the attraction, which has seen many upgrades to not only the attraction itself, but also to the ever-changing landscape surrounding it, which is one of the main draws of the attractions. For over 4.5 decades it has provided a magical look at the park, and will long continue to do so in the near future. But in round 4, TTA Peoplemover extends its lead going into the 5th and final round. Back in the 90s, the behind-the-scenes movie-style rides and attractions were the cornerstone of both Universal Studios and Disney's Hollywood Studios. One of the most important attractions at the time was Jaws, which was notably one of the big film franchises of its time, with a large following. The ride itself did a good job in its earlier years in bringing an element of realism, which originally made the ride quite terrifying for some riders, and was one of the most immersive boat rides in Florida. Jaws was a thrilling encounter that literally had you on the edge of your seat, with the predatory movements, to the rapid bombardment of assaults from the massive shark brought on levels of fear unlike many other rides at the time. Over the years though, with some refurbishments, the realism and the element of surprise began to wear off, and became a more predictable attraction, which took the shine off a little on the once terrifying attraction. TTA Peoplemover in itself is one of the most uneventful attractions in terms of any thrill elements. It is an exhibition ride with no real exit net to speak of. However, this doesn't mean that the attraction has nothing to offer. It offers park guests a chance to view the park from a higher perspective above the crowds, giving a bird's-eye view of many beautiful parts of the park, with a lot of undisturbed views, allowing you to take in much of what the park has to offer without the need of avoiding the vast crowds below. It provides a special look at other attractions, and gives people the opportunity to take a rest, while passing through one of the most vibrant parts of Magic Kingdom. TTA won't win any awards for thrill-seeking, but it will certainly be a must-ride attraction for those looking to capture some personal memories which aren't always easy to capture at ground level in the busy parks. So in the fifth and final round, it's a point back for Jaws to end the competition. Which means that this week we have a rather surprising victory for one attraction this week. That does sadly mean that this week we do have to say goodbye to the former Jaws attraction, which drops out of the tournament. Jaws holds a special place in the hearts of many for being one of the original behind-the-scenes movie rides, which are almost all but sadly gone from today's modern-day parks. Jaws today with modern technology would be the ultimate attraction for fear and thrills, which may hopefully one day make a comeback in one form or another. TTA Peoplemover advances to the next round. Join us next week for another former Universal Studios attraction, Twister Ride It Out, as it goes head-to-head with Animal Kingdom's Expedition Everest. We'll see you next time. We hope you enjoy this video. Please support us by subscribing to our channel. You can find us on social media platforms. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at Orlando Worlds, and on Instagram at the Orlando Worlds. Thanks for watching.